So we are OCD. I have a question for you guys, in more ways than one we are. How many people are New Yorkers? Raise your hand. All right, great. So then, how many of you commute? How many of you live outside of the city but commute in?
Jersey, a couple.
And then, how many of you are just kind of in town for Urban Design Week or are visitors or tourists? All right, great. Well, one of the great things about that is, you know, we have 8 minutes to talk to you about something that you've all experienced, and that's the New York City subway system. So the subway system has a lot of different stations, so one for every one of us, basically. A lot of miles of routes that can get you almost anywhere you need to go in New York City. And it actually has enough track to be able to get me back to my home in Virginia and here. So there's a lot going on with the New York City subway system. And then, not only are there a lot of track and mileage as part of that, but then there's a lot of rides and a lot of people that are involved in those rides. That's over 1.6 billion rides per year, and that's approximately, what, 10.5 million per week. So one of the things about New York City's subway system that makes it interesting and unique and stand out from all of the rest, I lived in London for a while and the subway shut down at midnight, which means that everything is crazy after that point. But we have 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, the subway is open, unless Irene is coming to town. So, so that's something that is really important and helps us to know that New York is lucky to have one of the most extensive subway systems in the world. Now, because New York has one of the most extensive subway systems in the world, they also have a very extensive wayfinding system. Now, that wayfinding system extends across those 209 miles of routes, that's 656 miles of track. That wayfinding system has to get you around. And so it's super, super complex, but it also is something that has to be fit to fit New York subways. And this is a little bit of what it looks like. Super advanced, I'm telling you, this is like high-tech stuff. You know, for changes, if you can't read that. So this comes from our team going out and doing a deep dive in walking around New York City subways over the past couple of weeks and finding out things that are very important, like if we catch you by this door, you are in trouble. Changes handwritten on the back, and tons and tons and tons of paper being pinned up in different places to make sure that you know that the train that you ride every day is not the train that you're going to ride today. So basically what that does is it leaves us feeling like this guy here scratching our heads with options and decisions and things that make our ride to places that we may not really want to be getting to if we're working all day and night, even more complex. So many of you are residents here, and there are 8 million residents. There are 5 million of you commuting, some from Weehawken and other places in New Jersey and Long Island. And we have 20 million visitors. So the tourists, the visitors, that's a lot of people. And some of you know where you're going because you come all the time, but a lot of the tourists kind of just get in the way. So that's something that we wanted to kind of think about. And so you may not be able to see this because of the light, but the residents, the tourists, the commuters, we all have our different ways of experiencing the subway system. We all have, for residents, for instance, you know where you're going. You don't look at the maps. You know where you're going. So this is your basic route. You just kind of go from A, and then you roam around, and you come back to point B. Commuters, they're the ones that are running over you. And they just want to get from point A to point B. It's a straight line. It's like, boom, and you're there. They're like stepping on your heels. They're hitting you with their battering ram bags, ladies, in the morning. And then you have the visitors and the tourists. And you know how that's going to be. I mean, it's almost like pretty obvious, right? So like not only do we have the people that are like in a hurry to get where they're going, but then, oh my God, like what's happening there? So what this all comes down to is that the New York City subway system is pretty confusing when it comes to the wayfinding and how to get around. Jennifer Kine?
Given that the signage is confusing, Alyssa reached out to us at OCD with one question. What is the most effective way of improving wayfinding? Being OCD, we came up with 3. Number 1, right now wayfinding relies almost entirely on mapping. You get so excited because you get the end bench in the subway, and then all of a sudden some guy leans up against you, stomach, to look at that map and try to find his way around the subway. So we're suggesting we stop relying on that analog, we stop relying on that mapping, and we start to introduce technology. Many different subway systems right now are starting to introduce Wi-Fi while you're on the subway. We suggest skip the Wi-Fi, let's go directly to GPS. GPS has worked so well getting people around the highways of America. Why not start using GPS to get around the subways of New York City? Being able to map your path from Times Square all the way down to Soho Prince Street, being able to get those, we did a lot of research on this. We figured out that, well, we learned that to do GPS, you have to quadrangulate 4 different satellites up in the sky to be able to find out where you are. You're able to do that underground by drilling a big, huge hole and getting lots of, what is it? Wiring Diva, our intern here, has done all of this research, tons and tons of wiring down underground, and then you're able to quadrangulate your movements underground through GPS so that as you're traveling on the subway, you're able to track your path. You go in, you say, I want to start at this station, I want to end at this station. You get to skip all those crazy updates. Your GPS will tell you exactly where that subway is going. You get on, and then, oops, you missed your stop. Your GPS can tell you right there. You get a little vibration in your pocket. Did you fall asleep? Perhaps. Did the subway change its direction? Perhaps. You've missed your stop. Your GPS is able to recalculate for you where you're going to go. It tells you when to get on, when to get off. But most importantly, it gives you the opportunity to report this confusion to the MTA. So they can start a bit of tracking of where people are getting lost. They'll be able to start understanding where the subway signage is working, where the subway signage isn't working. And through these error reports, sort of like using your Mac, sort of like using your Microsoft Word, when it aborts, it asks you to send an error report. Here, this gives you the power to talk directly to the MPA, submit your error reports, and move on with your day with a little bit of help from GPS. In addition to going away from analog, technology is going to allow you to consolidate those crazy signs that are all over the MTA and do what they're doing right now in Penn Station. You're able to have one display screen with updates on each of the lines telling you where the planned work is and where the changes are happening. So much easier to know to look in one place. Instead of knowing you have to scan the booth as well as the turnstile, as well as the pole, as well as maybe when you get on the track, let's consolidate all of that. It's starting already. Now, technology is the most obvious intervention, but it's not quite enough. What we need to do is connect above ground to that station-to-station experience. How can we do that? When you're trying to get through Times Square, you have these crazy all-train signs, you have crazy steps taking you from one level to another level. All you want to do is get to your platform. How refreshing would it be to be able to look at a map of a station? Such a simple solution. Have you ever seen a map of a subway station? You're able to go from New York to Detroit and know your path before you get to Detroit. You have the little magazine in front of you when you're at your seat. How nice to be above ground and be able to see a map of Times Square before you commit to going underground. So simple. Did you know that Times Square is in fact 2 different levels? There's 12 different entrances to the Times Square station. If you're able to look at that before you go underground, you can choose which entrance is closest to your subway stop so that you can go directly to your platform. Or if it's raining, just hop right on and do the whole thing underground. Being able to simply map out your station experience. Just we'll be able to give tourists, commuters, residents so much more confidence in what's about to happen as they go subterranean. So this is a really complicated station. Imagine 14th Street. In your head, you know you've already mapped it, residents. In your head, you know what you think 14th Street looks like. Was it anything like this? No, I had a big S shape. I don't know about you. I was sure 14th Street was an S shape. And then looking at Spring, Spring actually has an underground connection between their up-down and their downtown train. Had you known this ahead of time and it was raining, you could have popped in right up there on Van Dam and 6th Ave. Then you could have used that little knowledge of yours to go underground, stay dry, and still get to your uptown train. How convenient would that be? All it takes is a little bit of mapping, so when you're above ground, you know what's about to happen when you go below ground. Now, solution number 3. If we make the subway this darn easy, if we give you a GPS in case you get lost, if we give you a subway map before you go scary underground, everybody's going to want to use it. That means the tourists are going to be down there. They're going to bring their luggage down there. They're going to bring their confusion down there. We got rid of the clutter. We don't need more clutter. We got to get them out of the way. So what do we propose? First car. First car. Every single line on the subway has first car. First car takes on the color of the subway. You're standing on the platform. It's the first thing you see come across. It's bright. It's cheery. All you want to do is climb in that first car as a tourist because it's going to be comfortable, because it's going to offer you mapping, because it's going to offer you tour guides, because it's going to offer you T-shirts on the subway, right? So you're a tourist. Get in that first car. What we do is we take what used to be transportation for the residents, we turn it into a tourist attraction. Everybody's going to want to buy tickets. We all know the subway needs money, right? We're raising funds for the subway. All of our tickets can start to go down. All you have to do is get in and get inspired. Get in and get souvenirs. Get in and get out of the way. So we have that big campaign running while you're using your GPS. You're being able to move station to station. What it's all about in the end is being nice. All we're wanting to do is use these graphic interventions so that when our commuters need to go from station to station, they get there the most efficient way. So when our residents are going station to station, they're able to keep up with updates without having to look all over at every posted sign. And so that our tourists, when they come, they feel comfortable and they feel excited to invest in the MTA. Thank you.